Time now for The Clash. And despite the initial uproar over his participation and a reported £400,000 paycheck, disgraced lockdown Health Secretary Matt Hancock managed to defy the odds and opinion polls to finish third in Sunday's finale of I'm a Celebrity.
In third place on I'm a Celebrity 2022 is... Matt. Matt, say goodbye.
Say goodbye. We'll see you shortly.
Okay. Oh, well done. All right. Okay, thank you. Well done.
As much as he insisted he was there to raise awareness of dyslexia, Hancock's win-at-all-cost strategy, which saw him accused of strategically positioning his phone number in front of the cameras by royal campmate Mike Tindall, seems to suggest he only had one goal in mind: rehabilitation.
Matt's making sure his T-shirts and his phone numbers are on display at all time. Matt clearly wants to win. I'm taking great pleasure in just turning around whenever he leaves camp. Have you noticed someone's been advertising themselves?
What'd you say?
Matt's been putting all his stuff with Matt and the phone number pointing at cameras.
Morning, everybody.
But it worked, didn't it? Because now it's not PPE contracts and care home deaths that the public are talking about. It's Matt's Bush Tucker trials and the post-exit clinch with his mistress-turned-girlfriend, Gina Coladangelo, which, incidentally, his unlikely female fan base, dubbed the Hancock Honeys, have been cooing over, despite its similarity to the rule-breaking PDA that forced him to resign and nauseated all of us back in June 2021. So as you can tell, he hasn't convinced me. But what do you think? Should Hancock be forgiven by the British public? Thanks to I'm a Celebrity, Dan at GBNews.uk. Our poll running, but let's help make your mind up. With one of the so-called Hancock Honeys, consultant editor for show business at the Mail newspapers. There she is with Hancock on the front page of the Daily Mail, Katie Hind, former I'm a Celebrity winner and TV icon Christopher Biggins, and the columnist and media personality, a long-time critic of Hancock, it's fair to say, Carol McGiffin. So, Katie Hind, look, you know, you're a great friend of mine, but I can't understand this one. Why on earth would you want to be a Hancock honey after everything he did during the pandemic?
Well, I mean, it's not me that's called myself a Hancock honey to start with. I merely wrote a piece about when I met him, and I found him actually rather attractive. I feel like he's, you know, somebody needed to perhaps put that side across, because, you know, I don't know if
you can do better than that.
You know,
I think she can do a hell of a lot better than that.
Quite nice looking.
He's nice looking, Katie.
He is, and you know, I mean, look, he seems to have been attractive to the youngsters. I mean, the TikTok generation think he's a massive heartthrob. I don't, you know, I mean, yeah, I find.
And Katie, you met him, didn't you? You spent the night with him. I mean, not like that, but you hung out with him.
90 minutes with him.
And you liked him, and you got a different side of what you had seen presented in the media, maybe a demonisation of him by folk like me in the media.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, it's not just folk like you. I think lots of people have a right to have a view. Of course, you know. I don't think he could. I don't think he should have gone on The Jungle. If I was him, I wouldn't have done it. He's got a constituency that he should be looking after. I think it was a triumph for him to go on I'm a Celebrity. I think he's won over
it's a PR triumph.
Fans, and I think people did actually quite like him, including the campmates. I do, and I'm interested to see what happens going forward, because I think that he's going to be in demand, and I think people want to watch him on television.
Well,
Biggins,
I actually think Katie is completely right about that. It was a PR triumph, but Biggins, this is what makes me so angry, because now people are talking about him in I'm a Celebrity, not about the terrible decisions he made and the fact that he's still working for us.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I mean, if I'd been in The Jungle with him, I would have been furious when he walked in, because he took everything away from everyone else. I mean, my final three on day one was Jill Scott to win, and then Mike Tindall and Bubba. Now, those people, Mike and Bubba, are never going to look in, because he took over everything, because people wanted to see him suffer. Now, someone said in the jungle this year that Matt Hancock walked...
Oh, no, we've just dropped our biggest. McGiff.
I think that was quite a good difference, because he did do well. He won lots and lots of food for all the other contestants, but he shouldn't have been in there in the first place. He certainly should have been paid £400,000. That's ridiculous. And even though he says he's going to give it to charity, I don't believe him.
Well, he's going to give a portion
keep
of
at
it to
least
charity.
3/4 of that, I would think.
Yeah, I think so. McGiff, should folk like you and I just forgive Hancock?
I can't hear you, I'm afraid.
I will never forgive him or any of the others. And, you know, let's not forget that he wasn't solely responsible for what happened during the lockdowns and with all his orders. I just think that he should not have been asked to go in the jungle. I think he shouldn't have said yes. I'm going in the jungle. He should, if he had an ounce of decency, he would have said no. And I swear to God, just like Biggins, if I had been in there when he turned up, I would have walked straight out. And there was no way I would have shared space with him. And I'm absolutely horrified, disgusted, in fact, at the number of people that have actually voted for him and have been sticking up for him and comparing, you know, Boy George, yes, he did commit a crime, but he did his time. Matt's not doing his time. He'll never do his time. And if anybody thinks him going into the jungle and having to have a few cockroaches thrown on him is penance for what he did or what he contributed to, then I have no hope for the British public whatsoever.
Katie, how do you respond to that?
I mean, look, I don't disagree with everything Carol says at all. I think, but what I will say, as I will reiterate, it's been a triumph for him. He's got something like 58,000 new TikTok followers and over 25,000 now more Instagram followers. Now, you know, that's clearly what he wanted, wasn't it? Was to appeal to people and for people to see him as he is. And, you know, look, I do think, I mean, I know what you two both say, if you were in the jungle, you would have walked out. You know, Boy George, I think, also sort of threatened to walk out, didn't he? But yes. I think he even managed to win over his campmates who spent 24 hours a day with him. I just think it's absolutely fascinating how he's managed to turn this round. I mean, you know, I'm a believer in that there's a way back for everybody. I wasn't sure about him, and I was so sceptical at the beginning of how this would work. But actually, I think we're seeing somebody. Look, I was about to say we're about to say we're seeing an honest man here. Everyone's going to laugh at me if I say that. I guess that's not what I mean. I think he's opened himself up, hasn't he? And people seem to think he's genuine.
Fascinating stuff. I know there are many viewers, Katie, who agree with you because they've been very unhappy with me giving Hancock a hard time.
Yeah, they all voted for him. Like, really, they spent good money voting for that person. And it's just shocking that he stayed in longer than some of the other people in there who are really, really popular.
I know.
Oh, my God.
Mike